officially. We know how busy everybody is. I have already introduced myself, Diane Michael, beyond the boardroom, partner Lindsay Lombardi. She is a CAM. We came together, well, we met years and years and years ago. We met at a BAM Volusia. And for those of you that aren't familiar, BAM Volusia is the Building Association Managers of Volusia. Actually, we didn't meet there. We met through a member of BAM who met me, who knew Lindsay. So you know how networking works. But when I met Lindsay, I knew immediately that I wanted to work with her in some way. We got to work together at a management company, and now we get to work together on Beyond the Boardroom, which we kicked off officially in October. And our goal was to bring CAMs, board members, management companies, and association allies, which are vendors, it's just a name that we coined, together in ways that are easy to digest, like today, like Webinar Wednesday, and then in person a few times a year, because when you see people in person, it's different than being online. You learn, their personality, you get to shake hands, you get to talk to them more. And so we've created the legal update, which we call Get Updated, which is happening on August 21st. And we will have Get Certified, which will be the certification for HOA and COA association board members and CAMs in 2026. So we'll have those two programs in person every year, but then also do these webinar Wednesdays with the goal just to bring everyone together. Again, in an easy way that is easy to connect and easy to promote. You telling your friends in the CAM industry or in other board members and associations that you may do pickleball with about Webinar Wednesday. Lindsay, anything to add on the introduction to that?
I think that we're excited with how this has grown in less than a year. We feel like we've been able to make adjustments to our original plan in order to make it better for all of you. And again, our goal is really to be a source that is available to all management companies, all CAMs, all board members, where it's not, specific to one management company or one property. And it's also a great way for CAMs that work with properties directly or work for themselves to be able to become part of a community where you can come get the information, where a lot of times in the past, the only way you got to meet these vendors in person or take these continuing education courses were either sign up for a lunch and learn or work for a management company who was bringing these vendors in for their monthly meetings or however often they do that. So this is a real great way as a CAM. I'm appreciative of it. I think I wish something like this was around before because you can jump on the computer, take the course. If it's, maybe something that's not something that you need this time, but next time it's something that pertains to your property or something that you have going on, and you can get advice from vendors in person, to answer some questions without having to get on the phone and try to track someone down and hope that you can, maybe get someone to answer the phone. So this is, I think, a program that is going to continue to grow and be something that is so useful to CAMs and board members alike.
And John, thank you for the question. Do we post previous webinars? Yes, we do. We tape all of these webinars and then we send them out on the email that is usually the first email that goes out after we do the webinar. So the next email that you get should have the videos on there. We post the videos on our Association Allies YouTube channels. But John, I'll put my information in the chat and I can send you a number of them so that you can see all the education. Because yes, we've been providing hours of education every month since October. And our goal is to make these seasonal topics that are proactive and not reactive. That is a big thing for a board member and for a CAM. You have enough on your plates. You are volunteers, and then CAMs, you are putting out fires every day. So, being proactive and goal setting and finding out like, oh my goodness, next month is July already and we're mid-year. What do we need to do during mid-year? We're thinking about that. Lindsay coming in as the CAM perspective, me coming in with industry perspective from the marketing side has really been a beautiful complement for us to be able to say, all right, let's talk about hurricane season in May before the actual season begins. Let's talk about mid-year in July before, or in June rather, in right before it is mid-year. Let's start talking about budget season, and then let's get some legal updates going as soon as possible after the governor signed the bill. So we have been grateful to get Martell and Ozum, who you heard from earlier this morning, and thank you for those that were able to get the covenant enforcement CE credit that Jason provided earlier today. Martell and Ozum will be the attorneys presenting the legislative update at the 2025 legal update. And if you want to go to the next slide, Lindsay, and also Lindsay, will you talk about just a little briefly about what they're going to be updated on?
Sure. So, as a lot of you know, there are multiple bills that are, multiple legislative items um, that are discussed at all these legislative sessions, and every year they are updated um, to provide the, to provide the best legal for current times, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So what we're doing is providing you that legal update, which cams are required to get anyway every year before you can renew. So we are going to bring Martell and Ozum in, and they're going to update on all the new legislative things that were passed in this session, and then probably include some information on new things that were put in last year as well, because we all know that the last couple years there have been a lot of things regarding structural integrity inspections and requirements for your reserves, and some of that was updated. That's part of what was updated this year as well. Some changes to that, some extensions that were put in. So those are the things that they're going to discuss and be able to make sure that cams are now up to date on all of those items, and ready to get your budgets for next year. Because again, some of it was changes to some additional changes to reserves and the requirements and extensions. And therefore, you'll need all that information and know it well, so that when you're working on your budgets before you finalize them in October, I know a lot of you get them approved in October or November, so those coupons can get out. So perfect timing, August 21st, you're going to get all that information so that when you're going into these planning sessions and meeting with your board members, you can make sure that they understand what they are required to do as a board member when they're putting together and approving these budgets. And those of you that are CAMs, we really, really, really encourage you to invite your board members to come to this, so that they're getting the firsthand knowledge from the attorney, so that they're not saying to you, are you sure? Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. Here, come hear it from the lawyer. And also, I really think as a CAM that being able to invite your board members to things like this really do give you an upside, because a lot of board members really appreciate being able to get education, and they don't always are not part of the forums, which would give them the ability to see this information. So really providing them the ability to attend the in-person event, also our webinars, if you think it's topics that are relevant to what your associations are going through at those times, is really important, and something that brings value to your association and makes you a valuable partner for them.
Thank you. Okay, next slide. So the registration, you can scan the QR code or you can go into the chat. I put the registration link in the chat as well, and all the event details if you want to take a picture of that, if you want to cut and paste out of the webinar chat. But again, August 21st. It is on a Thursday. It's at Daytona State College at the Maury Husseini Center, which is right off of International Speedway. Plenty of parking because college will not be in session during that time. And for those of you who haven't been over to the Maury Husseini Center, it's a beautiful facility, and we're excited to welcome in 150 CAMs and board members. We decided instead of having a number like 300 all at one time, we said, let's do a morning session and an afternoon session. Can you go to the next slide? I think that we have the breakdown of times on that. Go to the next one. Thank you. So yeah, you don't have to come for the whole day. You can just come in the morning. You can come in the afternoon. That's the schedule. You'll be getting, again, the legislative update on the bills, the House and Senate bills that were passed and that are in effect. We will have a number of association allies present, our vendors that have partnered up with us. We know that best practices are to have 3 bids. And whether you're a CAM or you're a board member, the relationships with association allies changes. And we know that. We know that some vendors get complacent. We know that sometimes you don't have someone, a vendor in your toolbox that you know to call when an association needs their pickleball court updated, or if they have a roofing issue and they weren't happy with their prior roofing company, or if there's some construction concerns and you need an attorney involved. Like, who do you contact? And that is why we have these in-person events and these webinar Wednesdays, is to introduce CAMs and board members to more vendors, which we call association allies, on a regular basis, so that you not only have options, but you have the ability to get 3 bids for best practices for your board, for doing the due diligence of your association. And this is a way to come and meet them in person and see if they fit with the needs, if they're a good complementary match for you. We're thrilled with the response that we've received. So we've packed it out to where there's about an hour to talk to the vendors and get some coffee and some snacks, and then the 2 hours of education in a comfortable setting. And we gave 2 options there so that you're able to have just a morning or an afternoon of education to make sure that you are ready to end the year and start the year with the best knowledge from the industry professionals.
And then I just wanted to add one thing that I did not mention. Another one of the legal updates is going to cover the election process and meetings and notice. And so again, perfect timing to get updated on this, because you're going into annual meeting season. So when do you need to get those notices out? What is the new requirement for election procedures? Have things changed? What's different requirements for homeowners associations? Those have changed a little bit too. As we all know, as CAMs, you're now required to take continuing education specific to HOAs if you're going to manage HOAs. So again, the election procedures, all the notice requirements, there are some updates on that, and that's going to be really important information for you as CAMs and board members to have going into annual meeting season, which is around the corner.
Yeah, I can't believe it's already July. So before we know it, it's August 21st. And before we know it, it's you're working on your budgets. Before you know it, you're having your elections, and then you'll be coming to our certification, get certified.
Exactly.
So yeah, we can't wait to see you there. We look forward to it. If you are on our database, you will be getting emails. We do our best to not overwhelm you with emails, but because we have so much going on all the time, we're sending out about 1 a week. We will fill this course up, or this program rather. So definitely register today. We ask that you share it with your fellow CAMs. There will be multiple management companies that will be there as vendors as well. We're excited. We just got the Florida Community Journal. They'll be there. And again, a number of vendors and fellow CAMs. Also, I think it's just great to meet other board members, because sometimes it's just a way to learn what their best practices are. So on their name tags, we'll have, are they an HOA or a COA, and how many units do they have in their association? And, you're going to be sitting there with others, and you'll be able to meet other board members and ask them what they do, because a lot of the applications, you may be neighbors with a fellow association, and they may be able to tell you what they're doing with their seawall, or who they're using for their roofing company or their pool service. So it's a great way to not only get updated, but to network and to just get fresh information before we really get back into the swing of things and into the busy time of year for this type of industry. So we hope that that covered everything. Does anyone have any questions? Thanks so much, guys, for staying with us this morning. We so appreciate your time. We know how valuable it is, and we just appreciate you very much. If there's nothing further, have a great day.